Books. So many books come out nowadays, but how do you know which ones actually give you a strong foundation? And we're talking about personal finance, we're talking about money. Which ones give you the strong foundation so that any other financial book you read after that, you can put it in its right place and use the information instead of it going over your head like it's just kind of going to happen since you don't have exposure to personal finance. So, what are 5 books that lay a firm foundation for young people to build off of since the school system has failed to do so eloquently so? Well, let's get into it in this video. Hello everyone, welcome to a video produced by Financial Anatomy. I'm your host Elijah, and on this channel we talk about personal finance, investing, and how to spend money in regards to being financially successful. In particular for young adults, since the school system has eloquently failed to do so. And in this video, we're going to be talking about 5 books I highly recommend that you as a young person read or listen to, because most of them are available on audiobook, that will give you a firm financial foundation so that you can build off of and become successful early in life, as opposed to having to learn this stuff later in your early 30s and it kind of feels like it's too late. Since the school system does not teach you about financial literacy for the most part, unless you're a major in college like business or accounting, something like that, these books can also serve as financial basics or financial education that you can just use to build a solid foundation. So any more information on finances you get from there, you can really build off of, as opposed to you read or listen to a book and a lot of it goes all over your head because you don't have anywhere to effectively put it because you haven't had enough exposure. These 5 books, I'll actually be going into a summary of why they lay a firm foundation. But if you want to know more individual details on each one, I do have individual book reviews of each one on this channel. So you can check those books out if you want more details on a particular one. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first off, we have a honorable mention, and that is Rich Dad Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, I would like to put this in the top 5, but this time around I can't do that because it's just a little too basic. What it did for its time is revolutionary, introducing the aspect of assets and liabilities and making sure something really serves you. But by today's standards, it's way too conceptual. People are demanding action, hey, show me how to directly do something. I feel like that's really lacking in that book. I do like the graphic novel sense it's told in, and it does really nail in that concept of assets and liabilities, as well as the rich don't work for money. These are strong conceptual things, but it doesn't have enough active things to show you how to do stuff like that. So it's just an honorable mention as it stands, but a good honorable mention at that. Next up, we have Money Magic. Now, this book it's a different type of book. It's very, if I was to put it in the category, it's spiritual, materialistically spiritual. I don't even know if that's a phrase, but it gets into the principles of how to attract money, because the whole objective of the book is to become a money magician. But you have 7 other personalities that you're going to fall in, and they all have their pros and cons. So once you find out what your personality is, you see the flaws that are in there from an emotional perspective when it comes to making money. You make those corrections. You want to eventually become a money magician. And then the author lays out a solid foundation that you can build off of based on your emotional strengths. It's coming in number 5 because I do feel like those personalities are well thought out, but they need a little more elaboration. This book in particular, I feel, is a great foundation, and really learning some stuff about yourself as far as fundamentals of your emotions when it comes to making money, so you can understand your weaknesses and your strengths. And then outline a kind of they use a pyramid, 2 pyramids. One is on the quote unquote spiritual side when it comes to money. The other one is the material side, things that you'll need. And they provide that balance. And anytime you're lacking in one of the tiers on those pyramids, that's saying that area needs more work. And they tie it back to the personality that you have. So that's some pretty good game. You'll learn a lot about yourself. So it lays a good foundation. Also lays the reasons why you shouldn't do certain things with money because it bites you in the butt in a practical way. So it comes in at number 5 on this list. Coming in at number 4, another Robert Kiyosaki book. It's one that's underrated in my opinion, and it's Increase Your Financial IQ, Get Smarter with Your Money by Robert Kiyosaki. So this book, he gets into what he calls financial IQ, and he breaks it down in 5 levels. And those 5 levels are, the first one is making more money. The second one is budgeting your money. No. The second one is protecting your money. The third one is budgeting your money. The fourth one is leveraging your money. And 5 is increasing your access to financial information. And he lays the details about each one of those and how to strengthen them. A very just direct approach towards, as he puts it, increasing your financial IQ. And those 5 levels can be used as staples to kind of measure where you're at financially and which ones you're weak at. And once you find out which ones you're weak at, you can make adjustments from there. This one is one of the more detail oriented in Robert Kiyosaki's books. A lot of his books are too conceptual in my opinion. This one is actually more on the detail side. And with that being the case, it hits number 4 on this list, where I say he just gives enough details in those categories to really lace you up as far as getting started. But you probably have to listen to it a few times because some of it may go over your head if you don't listen to it right. And I'll get into that later. Coming in at number 3 is Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. Surprise, surprise, a lot of y'all probably expected that to be on this list. So Dave Ramsey is a very detailed author, and if you listen to the audiobook, he'll be scolding you the whole time. But the objective is to get out of debt and to build wealth. And his whole objective is financial peace. So setting yourself up for retirement, setting your savings up and never using debt again, and getting yourself out of debt if you're in debt. And regardless if you're in debt or not, I say this is a must read because he gives a lot of details on how to do certain things in life without necessarily needing credit. And that's a good side to know. Regardless if you decide to use it or not, you should know that side of the equation. And this includes things like getting a lease without them looking at your credit score. If you do it the right way, they'll look at other things as opposed to your credit score. It also includes how to get things in cash and get a discount, because most people in the sales field are so used to having to finance things, they get a piece of that commission. If you walk in there with cash saying that, hey, I want to get this in cash, a lot of times they'll give you a discount, and if they don't, you could probably negotiate a discount. So there's a lot of good game as far as how to live life debt-free in general, not just getting out of debt, but also not taking it on. So you need to know that side of the equation, and if you decide to follow that side, it's up to you. Even if you don't, it's just good to know. Coming in at number 2 is Alpha Money Strategies. Now, I really enjoy this book, and the reason I enjoy it, it's a very direct approach towards being financially successful. And I kind of see it as the masculine component of money magic. So I would consider this like the yin or the feminine aspect, and Alpha Money Strategies, the yang or the masculine aspect, because it's very material, but it's also very spiritual. The way Alpha Male Strategies puts it is, you need to find your purpose in life and figure out a way to monetize it. But in the meantime, you need to develop a trade or a skill so you can make good money and try other things while you find out your purpose. You do all this while you're setting yourself up for just a nice life, an abundant life. So once you are making good money, he recommends you get involved with the Lazy Dog portfolio. I think that's what it's known as, the Lazy Portfolio, where you just pick 4 index funds, the S&P 500, the total bond market, the total stock market, and the total international stock market, and you just funnel money in there. And as the market rises and falls, you'll end up paying the average. He didn't use this term, but that strategy is known as a dollar cost averaging, where you just keep putting money in, you end up paying the average of how much those shares cost, but these shares are paying dividend, so it's steadily just building wealth. So that kind of covers you financially. Even if you don't find your purpose in life, you're still getting covered, setting yourself up for a nice retirement and just living an abundant life while searching for your purpose. And if you find your purpose, you can give it all you have without having to worry with all this financial stuff because of the setup he outlines. I think that is beautiful, and it's underrated in my opinion. It's a very masculine approach towards finance, but it hits the spiritual side too. So it makes number 2 on this list. And coming in number 1, and it shouldn't be really any surprise, but it is The Anatomy of Financial Success, The Keys to Building Financial Confidence and Destroying Financial Insecurity, written by yours truly, Elijah Blau. You're going to say that's a bias putting your own book at first, but being honest, this book was written specifically for young people because there's 2 aspects that young people get screwed over in financial society. First one is the school system has failed us. They don't teach us about finances in school. We know this, but there's a higher component. The higher component is I don't see many, or if any, financial books that really take your personality into consideration when assigning like financial techniques, tactics, or ways of doing things when it comes to making money or income, budgeting, and spending money. There are techniques that are going to work best for your personality that won't work for me, and vice versa. And The Anatomy of Financial Success dives into those techniques, shows you what they are, and it also shows you these 6 personality types that inhabit the financial world, as well as which one you are. From there, you can find out what is the best type of income that is best for you to make based on your personality and your emotional wants and needs. You can find out what's the best way to budget your money, as well as your emotional strengths and weaknesses. Because we all have aspects of budgeting where we just spend money automatically. Like, I just spend money here by default. In other areas where we hesitate. So there's 4 areas, there's 6, but we're going to talk about 4 here, but 6 areas of finance. So there's donations, there's business if you have one, investments, there's self-spending, expenses, and savings. And we're going to focus on the last 4 because donations and business, they don't come into play here. But those last 4, 2 of those, you just spend automatically. They're your emotional strengths. And 2 of them, you're more emotionally weak in. For whatever reason, you hesitate to spend there. And in all 4 cases, you need to figure out how to spend that money in a way that you keep moving forward financially. Well, The Anatomy of Financial Success goes into the science of that. In addition to that, once you know your personality, you're going to be bombarded with financial opportunities throughout your life, whether they're presented to you or you go out trying to look for them. And you need to know your financial personality so you can figure out if that opportunity is going to be good for you based on that personality. Because if you pick the wrong opportunity, you're going to burn out and waste your time and not get the results you want. Versus if you pick the right opportunity, it's a license to print money. So that's why I highly recommend The Anatomy of Financial Success. Now, this next part, some of y'all aren't going to like, but I recommend that you read or listen to all the books at least 5 times before moving on to the next one. And they need to be listened or read to in a particular order. I can hear y'all now. Hey man, why I got to read it all these 5 times in a row? Why I got to listen 5 times in a row? I don't have time for that. Well, it's up to you. Do you want the strong foundation so that you can build money, or do you want to complain? That's just up to you. Now, some of y'all might say, I ain't got time to sit down and read the book 5 times. Well, great news. All these books are available on audiobooks, so you can listen to it to and from work, or if you really just need to get in the mood in the morning as you go to work, listen from work. But you can just listen to them 5 times, okay? So listening or reading them in this order is going to have the most benefit because some of these are over detailed and they will go over your head, and some of these are more conceptual, and some have an exact balance. And you need to read or listen to them in a particular order to get the maximum benefit. So if you're going to include the honorable mention, it's going to be Rich Dad Poor Dad, what the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class do not. This book is like 75% conceptual, 25% like detailed action. But that's needed when you're first getting started. You really need to lay a foundation on what mindset you need to have. Next, it's got to be Money Magic. Same as Rich Dad Poor Dad in terms of like 25% conceptual, 25% like detailed stuff, and 75% conceptual. Next is going to be The Anatomy of Financial Success. This is the first book in this little foundation series where it has a balance between conceptual and detail. So it's 50-50. And that's what you're going to need once you start to get a grasp of the financial concepts in general. Then you can get a more balanced book where things aren't going to go over your head. And The Anatomy of Financial Success is going to lay a foundation to where any book you read in the future, you'll have a place to put that information so it just doesn't fall to the right wayside, so to speak. Next up is going to be Alpha Money Strategies, another book that strikes a good balance between conceptual and detailed. It's like 50-50, so 50% detail, 50% conceptual. and it has a very direct approach towards setting up a foundation in a practical way. Then next is going to be Robert Kiyosaki's Increase Your Financial IQ. This is a book that's more detailed, so this is actually more so 75% detailed, 25% conceptual. So the information will go over your head if you don't read the previous ones before, but if you've read or listened to them, then you're going to be fine. You can soak up all that great game. And lastly, Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. 75% detailed, 25% concept. I mean, the concept is pretty much financial peace and staying out of debt, period, living debt free. Pretty easy concept to get. And once you read these books, you can make a decision if that's for you or not. But regardless, if you choose to use that or not, you need to know the other side of the equation. So that's why I recommend his book comes in last, because this is probably the most detailed among all these books. Hence, you need more perspective before you tackle that. And there you have it. We have the 5, or if you're going to include Rich Dad Poor Dad, 6 books, but I'll just say 5 books that young people should read or listen to lay a firm financial foundation that they can build off of. If I'm being honest, you could read or listen to these 5 books and stop, and you would be fine. That would be the equivalent of, again, let's say an associate's in quote unquote business, if you want, or I won't say bit in finance. And that's good because you need to have this financial foundation. I really feel that information in these books combined really should be required as basics in college, not that stuff about math and algebra and English and just a retread of what we did in high school, which isn't going to serve us in the least. I mean, this should be the basics. But that's for another video. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them below. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It'd be much appreciated, as well as subscribe if you're new. If you want to get these 5 or 6 books, you can do so by clicking the link in the description below or in the pinned comment. Full disclosure, that is an affiliate link, so that does go help to support the channel. But that does it for this video. I will catch you in the next one. Don't forget to get out there and take control of your financial destiny. See you later.